on Wednesday, May 27th at 5 p.m. to order. A roll call. We have all three trustees present, so we have a quorum. I will look for a motion to approve May 27th, 2026 agenda and B, the April 29th, 2026 minutes.
I'll make that.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the May 27th, 2026 agenda and the April 29th, 2026 minutes. Any discussion, comments? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion is carried. Do we have anybody, public comments?
Nobody's online.
Any from the Scott?
No,
Okay,
You reserve,
was gonna say-
right to change your mind?
I'll scream later, thank you.
That wasn't a definitive nah.
Not confident.
with that, I will move on. Chairperson comments. I do have one thing that I would like to at least bring up. And I have 4 copies, so you could take one, pass it down. What I have here is, I don't know if this is the right report, but communication from Nick Abst is the first 2 pages. We were informed that the YMCA has 2 quit claim deeds from 1957 and from 1990 about the YMCA property. So we had Nick look at that and see, because it mentions the village easement for the village. So this is more for information for you, so you're aware of it. No action is going to be taken on this. The bottom line is Nick does not think these are still valid. You can read through it because it's over 30 years ago and there's some legal verbiage that states anything over 30 years, you've got to have certain things, actions taking place. So this is more for information for this committee. So number 6, update on DMI properties.
Citations have been issued through the PD for ordinance issues. At this point, we have not heard anything back from DMI, so we will keep moving forward with them, and I believe the court date is set for June. And we'll see if anybody represents DMI at that court date.
What do you know what we are currently at assessed?
I think he's on 6th to 8th ordinance tickets. He writes them Mondays weekly.
Okay. And the dollar value, any idea?
He's write him at the highest value he can for ordinance.
Okay, any discussion on DMI? Okay, if you could communicate the court date once it is known, that would be good. Number 7 on the agenda.
PLP.
You mentioned in public safety.
Yeah.
Chapter 2, we'd like to discuss. I'd like to have a motion, or I guess I'd like to have discussion and a possible motion, which I guess I would like to have a motion to amend chapter 2 of the village ordinances to remove 2.02, number 7.
I'll make that motion.
It states new business, including introduction of ordinances and resolution. I will second that motion.
Okay. Now we
So-
can discuss.
Yes, now it's been moved and seconded. Now discussion.
Hold on, to remove what?
202.
2.02, subsection 7 or 7.
Be business.
Thank you.
To remove the verbiage, number 7, new business, including introduction and ordinance and resolution.
Is that the only update to this? The rest of these that are in green or red or blue are all previous amendments that have
Yeah.
all been ratified?
Yes.
This was back in earlier this year. We did it early into. It's updated already.
Okay,
Yes,
so we're just looking at the yellow at this point.
yep, correct.
Perfect.
Oh, it's supposed to not-
So any discussion? I know there was some work done. We can have that discussion about how we update ordinances and how we want to do that later, but specifically this one, I would just look for that. Any comments? Is there anything going in its place? Should there be anything going in its place?
I believe so.
Mm-mm.
Well, this was brought through us at a village board meeting through one of our committee members stating that Wood County and other agencies have removed this due to liability and other issues that this could cause even new businesses in the order of business agenda items.
So we will take out number 7. Will we renumber these? So it will be effectively 7 would be unfinished business from previous meeting.
Yeah.
So that would be part of the
Change.
change also. So do we need to amend the motion or not?
I think our motion just says update, so updating keeps it general,
Okay,
but we don't specifically
Okay.
correctly on which we're changing.
so that includes renumbering of the.
Yeah, in the note, I'm just gonna put in renumber agenda items accordingly.
Okay. If there's no discussion, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion is carried. Okay, I'm going to, if there's no issues with it, I'm gonna move number 9 ahead of number 8. So because I know we have 2 people that have to go. The discussion of the wake boats, we do in the packet is an ordinance that was given to us from Wilderness Alliance. Is that correct?
That is correct. The gentleman that came and spoke on Saturday's meeting has attached the draft ordinance in your packet.
Okay, so you have that. It is basically an ordinance that could go through, it's for the village of Port Edwards, the town of Grand Rapids, and the town of Saratoga. So I guess we're not gonna take action on it, but I would like to get Ben to have our attorney look at the verbiage in this. We could move it to Nick. And if there's any other discussion on this internally to this committee.
What was the generic discussion about at the open forum? Was anyone here in attendance?
Yes,
Yes.
basically
We
spoke, about the why, the fact that even though, you know, our biggest question, I think, for us has been the enforceability side of it. And I thought he had a pretty good point saying, I mean, it's just basically like a kind of a black eye on you if you're the guy that just keeps going out there and everybody else is, really, nobody's ever enforced or given a ticket
Mhm.
at this point. So makes me feel a little bit better. I think there's good science behind it. My thing is, you know, no matter what we decide and what we pass, we still have to get Saratoga and Grand Rapids to buy in, so.
Well, the next steps would be having Nick
Legal.
verify this, that it's
Legal.
acceptable, that we're not putting ourselves
Right.
out. And then get it through committee, approve it through committee. If it gets approved, then go to the board, get it approved, and then it's out of our hands.
Right.
Right.
So
And
the
then
other
it's-
thing is then what do we do? Do we just pass this on to the other towns? Or is there, I mean, what is the function of this committee
Well,
or this
it's,
board
and this is my,
relative to
My
the
thing-
town of Saratoga or town of Grand Rapids?
is once we pass it. Or if we pass it, sorry, if we pass it by the board, then it can just be a simple, this is what we did. Do what you want with it, right? Like kind of a. You guys know the mechanism, they've been educated on it, and I think that's when the people that are for this. Or against it, I guess, go to those communities. And do their, advocating. Just like they did
For
here.
against, yeah.
So
Right.
is there any, I won't say responsibility, but any, effort from the committee or the board that should help with the other communities?
I mean, I don't.
I-
I don't know.
I would think that the Nepco Lake Board, knowing that if it passes through the Port Edwards Board, would then notify the people around the lake. And then the people from Grand Rapids or Saratoga could petition their board members to take on what we passed. And then they could try to pass through And if they have issues, they can have to kick it back, and then we would have to run it back through our committee board and.
I guess just so we're all in agreement, how far is the village gonna take this if we pass it?
I think if we pass it, we notify them, and then if you as an individual want to go advocate, I'm not gonna say nobody can, but I'm not sure it's,
Or would it be an individual, or be a representative of the village of ordinance? That would be a question,
I mean, I think,
because there's a line that we'd have to, and that might be worth a while to ask Nick. Are you representing the village or are you representing an individual?
So my other question on this too is this an all or nothing? Like we have to have Saratoga, Grand Rapids
Two of the
and
three.
us?
two of the
Two
three.
of the three,
Two.
okay. And then does it become enforceability? Like, is there a line drawn in the lake that this
No.
corner, it's not, it's
Mm-mm.
2 out of the 3 pass it, it's enforceable on the entire
Entirely.
Yeah.
entire
The
body?
the entire lake and the enforceability. And I did just talk to Chief Abbott. He's willing to enforce it, but if we do get it to the point where we want to vote on it in a committee, we've got enforcement issues, I would ask that Chief Abbott come and just discuss his thoughts,
Yeah,
pro or con about enforceability.
So also, and I can't speak on behalf of, you know, jurisdictional issues there. Wood County Sheriff's Department has a recreation deputy and they have jet skis.
Okay.
At least one, if not 2. So I don't know if the enforceability, if it comes down to it and they're out in the middle of the lake. If the sheriff's department has to, you know, send a jet ski out there to issue citations or what, but that is another available option. Cause I know we don't have water capabilities to go out and do anything.
We don't and we won't,
Yeah.
but it's,
So it's a matter of finding out who would be responsible for doing that.
yeah, that discussion needs to happen and I don't think it,
I think
He
we.
did mention at the meeting that the Wood County Sheriff could issue citations if there's an ordinance and he wishes.
Typically, they were saying it would typically happen at the boat ramp. The way that it is right now,
Yeah.
you're not gonna usually have a roving patrol out on NEPCO at this point.
No.
And once in a while, you might get a game warden out there or something, but
Mhm.
they're not gonna enforce that.
But I'm just saying typically, if there's something that needs to be nipped in the bud immediately, we don't have the capability of going out there and doing that. The sheriff's department would be able to do that.
so I think moving forward, we're gonna have Nick look at it. Are there any comments? Have you had a chance to review this or any issues, concerns that you have with the current language?
I don't, and, you know, I'm sure this was made in similarity to all the other ones that have been passed with this, organization's help, so I'm sure that there is a lawyer that has looked through this at one point or another in some way, shape, or form. So I wouldn't see any huge issues coming back,
No, but
from our attorney either. But nothing really stands out to me.
yeah, it would be good to just get his blessing on it too. Okay, so with that, any other discussion? I would ask you guys, anybody have an issue if I go off table? I have somebody in the peanut gallery raising their hand.
No objection.
Thank you. Just wanted to let you know that Rome last week passed their phase of this ordinance. And that the first phase is sending a draft ordinance like you guys are seeing and some other composition to the DNR. DNR approves, sends it back. They started at the board, the village board for Rome unanimously approved it last week. So that's all sent to DNR, so they're on their way. And just for fun, they started this process about 7 months ago,
For which lakes?
all 3.
All three?
All of them.
Okay, Sherwood, Camelot and.
Go ahead.
Alright,
Um,
okay. But they're not part of the 3.
3 towns? No, it's 1 town. You're
Yeah, I
right.
know.
It's 1 town.
So they,
And by the way, Port Edwards, I gotta say, they have 80% of the jurisdiction of NEPCO,
mhm.
you know? Grand Rapids has like 6 houses. Saratoga, a bigger percent, but because Port Edwards has the majority of the lake, we feel it's incumbent upon this board to become more active, to push this ordinance through and to actively pursue Saratoga and Grand Rapids in educating them of the dramatic harm this is causing and support their citizens. Just getting it passed and saying, oh, we're done, that doesn't help us at all.
Well, that also has to be, you gotta leave.
Yeah, I do,
But
sorry.
that has to be decided through the board, that if the board's gonna take action or it's gonna be on an individual basis, it has to come through the board. But
Yeah.
Thank you,
can I ask a
President.
question? At this point, what is the reason that Port Edwards would not participate in educating the other two municipalities along with the Metro Lake District?
In what forum would we do that?
Go partner to partner to people on the board and so forth and talk together about it?
Should we go to their board meeting?
Yeah.
As public people or as board members?
To share what the process that the board has gone through.
I think there's a fine line between education and advocacy.
correct.
And we have to, tread lightly on that too, because we need to present the information and we need to make sure that it doesn't seem like we're like, hey, we're gonna vote for this, you should as well. Political bodies are independent of each other, and it's one of those that it's like, we need to present them the information and have them make their own decisions on their own merits. So I see no problem with education. Advocacy gets a little bit tricky as far as legalities go. So if we just go and present it, we say like, here's the information that has been presented to us, here's what we're doing with it. We want to pass this on to you. If you need anything out of us, please contact us. I think there's no issues with that.
Let the Lake District advocate. That's a
The
partnership.
Lake District can absolutely advocate. You're not technically a political body, so.
Okay,
I guess we are.
Well,
Hang on, okay,
Yep.
Definitely.
we're getting
Yep.
we're getting
We're getting a little far,
outside.
but
I let one conversation go. I appreciate the comments, but that should be through public comments. We're gonna have to decide, and you're a trustee member, we can bring this up at the board level. If we do approve it, then we can bring it up as discussion through the board of how do we want to carry this forward. Once it gets through this committee and then to the board, if the board approves it, then the whole board can decide what are the next steps in actually trying to push this forward. So,
Are you sure that Nick Epps has not looked at this? Because we started this 2 years ago, Rick, and this has just been dragging on. I thought it was something already.
Nick Apps, I got maybe the original one, but he did not get the one that was just given to us
The
after the
one
meeting.
with
That has Saratoga and everybody else in
Little
states, the newest. This is the newest one that came out of that Saturday meeting
Okay,
that I received about a week and a half ago.
okay. I just, I'm so frustrated that this has taken so long and my property continues to be destroyed. And I feel like the board is not supporting me in any manner.
I'm sorry you feel that way. We are going to bring this back and we will take a vote on it. And then if it passes, it passes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. The advocacy part is something we'll have to discuss at the whole board level.
And that part is fine with me, and I'd be willing to facilitate the educational portion of those two other boards through experts. So you don't have to.
Understand, and I appreciate your input. Yes, it appears that it's been moving slowly. It appears like that to me too. We just need to make sure we're putting all our ducks in a row and doing the right thing and getting the right thing approved that has some potential for going forward.
Thanks, so.
Any other discussion on the committee on wake votes?
So I will send that out to Nick tomorrow for approval and then send that over to committee members. So we can have that. So next month, if
Then this will
be on the agenda.
be if it's approved through Nick, then this would be the actual ordinance that we would vote on. So, thank you. Moving back to number 8, discussion on village ordinance number 8, public works. Did you, trustee, did you get the version from trustee?
I did not.
It's my fault.
No, it's,
Betsy, and then she told me to send it direct, and then, I don't know, so
no, it's fine. So I had one or two questions of my own, but
Okay, let's go through the.
yeah, we can,
version.
I have no issue either way. I just had a question, point of clarification. It refers to engineer in here quite a few times. that's my question is, previous administrator was an engineer. You are jack of all trades. Engineer is not one, correct?
Correct, we don't have one on
Thank you,
staff.
guys.
Okay, we do
Thank
have
you.
one. Thanks.
We don't have one on staff.
Okay, so my question is then all of these things that reference engineering here, do they need to be approved by someone that holds a PE certification? Or something to that nature, or is it one of those that we can have the administrator or DPW head do in lieu of? That was the only clarification point I really had moving forward on this, because it says village administrator in several places, but it also says village engineer in several places.
I think when it gets into the road designs and a few of those things, that's where the topics come from, which obviously road designs and things like that. Just like these street projects we do, we run those through an engineering firm.
Okay.
So I
So you
kind of
can
read
sign
those,
off on
I
certain
kind of read
things.
those over and it's, but again, if we're building a brand new road, it's getting designed by an engineering firm.
Hmm.
I'm not taking a piece of paper and drafting up a road, and if it's a new subdivision, it would have to be created by an outside agency.
And I'm not saying you're doing that, I'm just saying that,
No, so I can look it over one more time. I think some of those I believe are still fine, but we can definitely, I
I
can reread
have
it
the
again.
same question. I have village engineer highlighted all throughout here.
correct,
So
okay,
I think we just need to determine what language we want in there in place of village engineer. It could be DPW / engineering, or whatever, to make that work. But we need to decide how we want to fill those in because we don't have an engineer.
but there are certain things that still, like Ben said, need to be approved by an engineer, so I think there's validity to leaving engineer in certain places. We just need to figure out where do we need to leave engineer in and where can we take engineer out?
Agreed. My thought process, we could put two things in there. Director of Public Works / engineer in all of those places, because depending on what his call is.
Okay.
Then you could either do it internally or do it through an engineering.
So we leave the ability to determine what level of approval it's required with the
Yes.
administrator.
The administrator.
Perfect, makes
I
sense.
mean, that's my suggestion, because some of it would be his call,
Mhm.
whether I'm comfortable, like it's grading and heights of, certain things.
Mhm.
All that stuff, whether he can make that determination or he wants to go outside.
I'm great with
But
that.
we just need to determine what verbiage we want in that. And so if you want to give some thoughts, I don't think we're ready to approve it. I thought we might be, but now everybody didn't get this copy of it, so we will can you send this to,
I'll send it to Ben. I'll send it
So
to
I'll put it on the server and then
Yep.
kick it back to
he can
everybody.
distribute it.
Sounds good.
I do like a lot of these things that it found in here, which kind of cleans it up. You know, gender specific pronouns, so as such, and just kind of cleaning it up. So all of these, if we can send that out, then next time we can come with a cleaner copy, then we can review it.
And maybe it's something to discuss. I mean, going forward, if we're tied to a certain format, is it something that you would want me to run back through Claude and say, hey, you need to keep the original formatting? Or maybe when you read chapter 8, maybe we decide, because this thing can rewrite the entire, it already gave suggestions on chapter 11 where it was kind of, they'd kind of veered off. If you read the chapter 8 stuff, there were some problems with some of the verbiage in 8 because it wasn't consistent. When it was citing chapter 11, it wasn't done the same way as, I believe, there was 2 different fines. And then it went to Wisconsin state statutes and it said, hey, you can't, we actually can't do that. We have to, and so it tees it up in some of those color schemes to go to the lawyer. It says, if you want to change this needs to go to the lawyer and then make sure that he's good with it.
My
Yeah.
personal opinion is I think it's functional and worthwhile.
Mhm.
We just need to try to keep it in our historical, how we have the changes highlighted,
Mhm.
color coded, et cetera, so you can go back and
Mhm.
track, unless we want to, as a board, change this whole scheme. And that's gonna be a bigger deal.
Right.
They've got this one, chapter 2, had some adopted 2021, 2024, 2025, 2025 changes, and they're all in here, so you can see historically what was done. So that's a bigger change than just reviewing the ordinances, is maintaining this format,
Right.
but cleaning it up to what a lot of the stuff, I agree with almost everything in here that I saw. One of them was pulling out the fee schedule into a separate, but we don't have that, so we'd have to make that.
Mhm.
And that would be a discussion point at this committee. Do we want to do that? Then we'd have to add it to that,
Right.
and then we'd have to
To
convince
ordinance
the
10.
board.
I just don't,
Ordinance ten is where the fee, not the fee, the ordinance violation.
there's a 1 in 11, section 11, it talks about,
8.1, 811.3, flat permit fee amounts replaced with reference to village fee schedule to allow updates with.
Yep, so that's okay.
Without ordinance amendment.
the thing
That
is,
makes
with,
sense.
I mean, I feel like with this technology coming out,
Hmm.
it may not be the best time right now, but it's something maybe to mark down in the back of our mind, like this thing can rewrite and make everything the way that we would like it to look in, and keep all the information in.
I like the fact that it puts reserved in here.
Right,
It cleans it up and puts it more like the state statutes, which is not a bad thing, but that is a bigger discussion point.
right.
Than us just going through and saying, well, this doesn't
Yep.
match state statute or.
And so maybe I do this, maybe I go back and I say, hey, you need to keep the original ordinance formatting. And then I want you to do a different color, and I want you to put it in purple or whatever, the color of the new stuff. And I want you to put the old stuff, I want you to footnote that so that we can then print it and have a discussion off of that. Is that
Yeah.
in the old format?
And then the addition of the revision notes.
Yep.
It to me is a good thing, but
That was gonna be my suggestion too. I was the chair of the legislation and bylaws committee for a professional organization for a long time. And one of the things that we did every time we updated bylaws is we had a reference of changes. So here's the date, here's the changes that were made. So you can go back, and obviously we don't have any historical background to do that, but moving forward, we can definitely do that. We can say we changed 8.11 subpart 3, we removed. And just, so you could go to the end of your ordinances and look and say, oh, well, we took that out in August of 2026.
I think I agree, but that has to come through this committee as a recommendation, that would have to go to the board too.
Correct.
As we amend it, part of this is going to be, then we're changing it to a reference list or change list at the end.
Mhm.
Revision notes,
I love revision notes. It's
but we have to get it through the board.
correct.
Right?
I mean, that could be a separate motion in my mind,
Hmm.
that we're going to redesign the way these look to make them more, to me, more professional.
And I'll also let you know, like this thing that I'm creating, it's a permanent project under Claude AI. So now it's learned Port Edwards ordinances, and it knows the state statutes that I've loaded that were mentioned in our ordinances. When I tell it to do a deep search, so it's took all the Wisconsin state statutes from 2 and 8 that are mentioned anywhere in 2 and 8. I can go through each one of our chapters and then it pull down all the ordinances, and now it really retains that stuff, so it.
That's very good,
Right,
as long as you're on the board. You can't leave the board, because if you go away, then that's gone.
my intent would be at some point we vote this in for somebody like Diane, somebody that has this thing on their computer, and you know, it's
Is it a paid AI?
yes, it's paid.
Okay,
It costs $24 a month or $20 a month.
then that would have to go through FHR and all that.
Right. These are just things we could talk about. You literally take so much load off of, I mean, it'd be something for the board to probably talk to through anyway, even using with our police force, with other people that are making these big decisions and running these numbers and all this stuff that.
The utilization of AI needs to be a bigger discussion point through the board, and probably starting with President Mansell. How does we want to do that? And that can come, I don't even know what committee that would, or she could bring it up.
Probably FHR, because FHR is also FHR IT.
Okay.
And I think there's some limitations and I'm not saying limitations, we're all talking about, IT infrastructure and computers and permissions and things of that nature, so I think it would be appropriate to go through FHR.
And the thing is with this AI, there's nothing that we're doing that is, private information or anything that needs to be
Yeah.
protected. This is
Yeah.
all open
All of
source.
these are public.
Everything's public record.
Thank you.
Guys.
Yeah, so
My recommendation then would be you can bring that up as to under trustee comments in a board meeting.
Mhm.
And say, this is something that we're looking at doing. And is there any interest? And then have a discussion with President Mansell, and then she
Will do.
can direct it as she sees appropriate.
In the meantime, for this stuff, which is what I had mentioned before, basically putting it back in original format.
I personally like the changes it found.
Mhm.
Because it does, everything, nothing didn't make sense to me.
Mhm.
It all made sense to me on all the revision notes. But it added some verbiage in here that we've got to have discussion on.
Mhm.
I think it should be back in the original form for now. So if we can get these changes into the original form, then we can walk through that.
I will do that and send it out to Ben here during this week. I'll get it back out to him, so.
You-
And he'll send it,
Consensus?
fine
Consensus?
with that.
Okay,
And then we'll discuss that next meeting.
sounds good.
that's good. These have taken, usually it takes discussion, bring back a clean one, and we vote it in, and we bring up another one. We're moving slowly. Okay.
It's been years since they've been updated, you know.
They're up there, yeah.
Yeah.
And it is tedious the way I've been doing it. Okay, any old business? New business, any new business? Any correspondence? Well, that's probably where this should have come up, as correspondence, but I brought it up in chairperson comments, is the quit claim deeds. The YMCA, it torn down, so their discussions are ongoing on what the YMCA is looking to try to do with that property. There may be a submittal. I was talking with Ben about if the YMCA should submit something to the village to say that if you have anybody that's interested in that property, let the YMCA know for development. So at least they're formally entertaining the village and saying, if we have some information that might help develop that property, then we can.
So their intent is for somebody to go in there, and if it's good, if it's goes through our approval or we're good with it, then they want to do something for Port Edwards. That's why
They would help facilitate the development of that property, sell it to a developer or whatever. Well, it would have to be something that's amenable to the village. So right now it's in their ownership, they're gonna maintain it, but they would like to see something come worthwhile to the village also.
So this will be provided for informational purposes at the board
Yes.
meeting. Okay.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's been to the board yet. We just got this information back from Nick 19th.
No, that was after a board. So yeah, I would assume people not on this committee would want to see this on.
Yeah.
In the board.
Yeah, I just wanted you to be aware that there were two of them and
Appreciate it.
Could I bring something else up, real quick? Is this board have anything to do with the ask from Nepco Lake, the letter that was sent out? Nepco Lake residents were wanting the taxes, the mill rate and all that.
Probably not through this committee.
not through this
It
committee.
wasn't.
It
this
would come
committee?
through FHR
Through
and a
FHR.
portion through public safety.
Yeah,
I'm
it's,
trying to remember what the asks were.
Because I've only been on these two boards and maybe I just was on a different.
the most of the interjection to this committee was on the wakeboat ordinance. There has been discussion about this tax to service ratio through the general board
Right.
discussion, but not through this committee.
But it's never gone to really a committee. It's just been
No.
always at the general board
Yes.
is where they basically,
Yes,
so
There will probably end up being some discussion at committee levels. It just won't be this committee.
right. I just wanted to make sure it
it'd
wasn't this.
probably be through FHR.
I've been contacting Ben on the side. I'm just trying to
Yeah.
wrap my head around all the.
Now, I'm gonna veer back. this whole wake boat ordinance thing is, whether we as a committee or as trustees, as part of the village board, do their other individuals are looking for support from us, the board members, to go out and advocate for this ordinance in other municipalities. So I just want to get, I think I know where you stand.
Mhm.
What is your stance on whether you think this committee, us as trustees, or the board should be advocating for the wake boat ordinance?
I think that we should not advocate. I think that it rubs people the wrong way if we go over to other municipalities and we say, this is what we want to have.
This is what we're voting on.
This is what we're
And
doing.
it's gonna
we
go
want you
this
to do
way.
the same thing.
Yeah.
They already are ignoring us. And this was kind of the point that I was gonna make, but they were already getting a little angry and us board members aren't gonna be able to talk them into any more than when we invited them over to the discussion on the Saturday morning that nobody showed. So I mean, I think that we do our due diligence, we push it through committee, we let the board do what it does. Yay or nay, if it passes, then it's something that the president or, I mean, Eric, I mean, he's on the Nepco Lake Board and he's on the regular board.
As an individual, I don't see a problem with doing it. I don't, that discussion, I agree. I just wanted to,
Right,
kind of sound this out. Is if it does pass committee and it does pass the board, then we can have a discussion at the board level of where do we take it from here? Do we just communicate or do we advocate? What do we do? So that is a general consensus from the board. That's my thought process.
And I agree. I think there's some danger as far as, they're all independent political bodies and you don't want to sway them in one way or another.
You
I-
shouldn't be.
I think if we provide them all the information that we have, once it's approved or not approved, whatever, the outcome may be, we can inform them. We can let them know like, hey, we're voting on it at this meeting. We have this open house on this day, like you've already informed them on. I think it's a matter of there's nothing wrong with sharing information between independent political bodies. I think, again, and I hate to be beating this dead horse, but advocacy from body to body is just in all a bad idea.
Okay, just so we're on,
Yep.
we
100%.
we have that conversation and, at least we can all know where we stand.
Mhm.
And then we can bring that to the board. No other correspondence.
None.
Future agenda items would be, ordinance 8. And then the larger discussion, I think, needs to go through the board. We can have that with Betsy on what do we want to do. Or actually, I think it should come through us first if we're gonna change the format.
well, man,
I'll put down format, ordinance format change. With a question mark. And DMI. Any other agenda items that you're,
And I know this isn't a point for discussion, but I believe, and this is something that's obviously gonna have to go through council. Format changes do not need to go through committee again. If you're just changing the way a document looks and not changing the actual text or the intent, but again, this is something that's gonna have to go through council. Can we take the first 7 ordinances that we've already revised repeatedly over the last year and change and just make them look differently, or is that gonna have to all go back through committees?
well, there are some changes, like he put this reference statutory authority
Mhm.
page.
We need to define exactly at what point are we amending the ordinance to a point where it has to go back through committee.
I think verbiage changes
Yes,
yes.
when you're adding
Mhm.
any
Mhm.
language.
but if we're going back over ordinance 1 and just changing the way the words sit on the page,
If
And
you're
we're not
gonna,
changing
if
the
you're gonna
intent
add
of the verbiage.
statutory authority.
then I
Or
think it does.
it's gonna, and it's probably gonna clean up a lot of the he's, he, she's, all
Mhm.
that stuff.
So,
And then the revision notes, I think it's a good thing. So it's really those 2 things in the format change. Can you do me a favor? In this ordinance format change, highlight those things that you see that would be beneficial in that format change. like the statutory authority and the revision notes, is there anything else? So. Okay,
Now, any chance you would, I mean, I can just do this just for the fun of it and send it out to Ben and he can disseminate throughout the month, but I can literally have the thing write the entire ordinance in the way that it is right now with the corrections that fixing some of the grammar stuff, but it's changing the way it's saying, so it's gonna, I can have it stand out in whatever color when I look at it. And then I can also have it do the entire, it'll just be a PDF or a Word doc, and I can have it rewrite the entire village ordinance, all of them. And just give just send it to Betsy, and that way people have something they can look at and say, this is the format that it would be in if we were gonna vote on it, and then put any of the changes in red inside of that saying, and then you would be able to compare old ordinance to new ordinance. You should be able to side by side them. And every time there's red, you're gonna see that it added this paragraph, and it added these revision notes on the back.
that
And
is-
they're,
that is good when it's crossed out and the verbiage or the new verbiage is different.
and this would just be all just on digits, so we can just toss it, it's not me putting a ton of time, I mean, a few hours sitting there just making it do what I want, but.
Yeah, if you want to present that at the next committee meeting, the
Yeah.
ordinance changes, the format changes.
Yep.
And we can.
Yep.
Take that
Will
forward.
do,
Okay,
so I will.
any other future agenda items? I'm looking at the next meeting.
June 24th,
That'd be the fourth,
correct.
2, 3, 4, June 24th. That's where you had yours.
Yes, I'm at 4:30. PRC is at 3:30 because they're going to Rook Creek.
I'm gonna have to dial in on that.
That's fine. So. Are you gonna be half an hour?
Yeah, I'll be half hour.
Okay.
I have no reason. to
June
go over.
24th, 5 PM.
Sounds good.
Okay. If no other, I will call the meeting adjourned at 5:42.